Welcome back to Fluent English Conversations podcast. Imagine you are sitting in a meeting room with your international colleagues. You are well prepared. You are wearing your best clothes. You have your notes ready, and you feel confident. You want to explain that your company had a great journey this year. You take a breath, you open your mouth, and instead, you say your company had a great trip. Suddenly, your colleagues look slightly confused. Maybe someone hides a small smile. You feel your face getting hot. Your heart beats faster. You sit there quietly, thinking your English is just not good enough, and you want to disappear under the table.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the podcast. I am Emily.
And I am Felix. Today, we want to tell you something very important. That feeling you get in the meeting room, it is completely normal. Please take a deep breath. Making mistakes like that is not a disaster. You are an adult with a busy life. Learning a language after a long day of work feels like trying to climb a mountain while wearing heavy winter boots. You do not always have the energy to perfectly translate everything in your head, and that is fine.
Exactly. We are not asking for a heroic effort today. We want to give you a quiet, safe space to learn. We are going to look at some of the most confusing words in the English language, but we will do it with tiny, gentle steps. We will use simple pictures in your head. By the end of this episode, you will feel much lighter.
I love that. Tiny steps. Let us start with our first group of words, nouns. These are things or concepts. And our first pair is floor and ground. These two confuse almost everyone.
Yes, they do. Let us start with floor. Floor means the flat surface you walk on when you are inside a building. It is also used to talk about the levels of a building. Imagine you are inside a large cardboard box. The bottom of the box is the floor. You are safe inside. For example, my dog loves to sleep on the cold kitchen floor.
That is a great example. Now, let us practice what we call shadowing. When we say a key phrase, just repeat it after us quietly. Let your mouth feel the words. My dog loves to sleep on the cold kitchen floor.
Now, what about ground? Ground is the surface of the earth when you are outside. It is the grass, the soil, or the concrete under the open sky. Imagine the crust of a pie. You are outside, on top of the world. For example, after the rain, the ground in the park was very wet.
Shadowing time. After the rain, the ground in the park was very wet.
You know, Felix, I recently had a personal insight about why we make these mistakes. Sometimes we choose the wrong English word because our native language is playing a trick on us. Linguists call them false friends. Your brain sees a word that looks or feels like a word in your mother tongue, and you blindly trust it. But it means something completely different. It is like expecting to drink a glass of water, but it turns out to be white vinegar.
That is a perfect metaphor. You expect one thing, and you get a shock. This brings us perfectly to our next group: travel, journey, and trip. In many languages, there is only one word for all of these.
Exactly. Let us break them down. Travel is the general idea of going to different places. It is an abstract process. You cannot count it. It is like the concept of liquid. You do not say one liquid or two liquids. You just experience it. For example, travel is my biggest passion in life.
Travel is my biggest passion in life.
Then we have journey. A journey is the actual process of moving from point A to point B. It focuses on the time spent moving. It is like the long connecting cable between two computers. It is about the distance. For example, the train journey from London to Paris takes 2 hours.
The train journey from London to Paris takes 2 hours.
And finally, a trip. A trip is the whole package. Going to a place, staying there, and coming back. It is a closed circle. You can count trips. For example, my manager went on a short business trip.
My manager went on a short business trip.
Let us move to the next pair. Opportunity and possibility. These two sound very academic, but we use them every day.
Opportunity is a positive chance to do something good or useful. It is like an open door waiting for you to walk through it. It is a gift. For example, I have the opportunity to work from home on Fridays.
I have the opportunity to work from home on Fridays.
Possibility is different. It is just the chance that something might happen or might be true. It is like flipping a coin in the air. It could be good or it could be bad. For example, there is a strong possibility of heavy rain tomorrow.
There is a strong possibility of heavy rain tomorrow.
Our next pair gives people so much stress. Receipt and recipe.
Oh, the spelling is a total trap. I have a small hack for this. It goes back to what we did earlier with shadowing. It is all about muscle memory. Do not just look at these words on a screen. Speak them out loud right now, wherever you are. Overpronounce them. Make your mouth do the physical work. It is like riding a bicycle. Your muscles remember much better than your eyes do.
I totally agree. Small physical steps. Let us look at receipt. A receipt is the small piece of paper they give you after you pay for something in a shop. The important thing here is the letter P. It is completely silent. It is like a ghost letter. You do not hear it at all. Receipt. For example, I need the receipt to return these broken shoes.
Let your mouth feel that silent P. I need the receipt to return these broken shoes.
And recipe. A recipe is the list of ingredients and instructions you use to cook something. Here, you pronounce all 3 parts of the word. It is like a musical chord with 3 notes. Res, I, P. For example, my grandmother gave me her secret cake recipe.
My grandmother gave me her secret cake recipe.
Let us look at history and story. History is the real facts of the past. It is the science of what actually happened. It is uncountable. Think of history like a heavy, dusty textbook in a library. For example, the history of ancient Rome is fascinating.
The history of ancient Rome is fascinating.
A story is a narrative. It can be real or imagined, and it is usually told to entertain someone. You can count stories. Think of a story like a fun movie playing in your head. For example, my friend told me a very funny story about her cat.
My friend told me a very funny story about her cat.
Our last noun pair is shade and shadow.
Shade is a cool, dark area that protects you from the hot sun. It is a place. Think of shade like a soft blanket of cool air on a hot summer day. For example, it is too hot here. Let us sit in the shade under that tree.
Let us sit in the shade under that tree.
A shadow is the actual dark shape created by an object or a person blocking the light. It is a specific shape. Think of a shadow like your dark twin walking on the ground next to you. For example, the tall building casts a long shadow on the street.
The tall building casts a long shadow on the street.
Before we move to the verbs, let me share another tiny trick that changed my life. I call it the personal anchor. When you learn a new word, do not just memorize our examples. Make a sentence about your own life immediately. Tie the word to your own reality. It is like putting a sticky note on your own fridge instead of a stranger's fridge. You will actually remember it because it belongs to you. Let us practice that personal anchor with our next block. Block 2. Verbs.
I love the personal anchor idea. Let us start our verbs with get and go. These are small words, but they do so much heavy lifting in English. Get often means to arrive, but it also means to transition into a new state. It is like a chameleon slowly changing its color. For example, in winter, it gets dark very early. Think about your own town getting dark.
In winter, it gets dark very early.
Go is used to talk about heading to a destination. But when we talk about changes, go is usually for negative changes or colors. It is like a machine slowly breaking down. For example, the fresh milk went bad, or my uncle went bald.
My uncle went bald.
Let us look at notice and realize. Notice is a purely physical action. You see it with your eyes or hear it with your ears. It is like a security camera recording a video without thinking. For example, I noticed a coffee spot on my white shirt.
I noticed a coffee spot on my white shirt.
Realize happens entirely inside your brain. You finally understand the meaning of something. It is like a detective finally solving a complicated mystery. For example, I walked to the station and then I realized I left my keys at home.
I walked to the station, and then I realized I left my keys at home.
Now we have a tricky group. Rob, steal, and burgle.
Oh, this one is very common in movies. You rob a place or a person. Think of rob like attacking the container. For example, 2 dangerous men robbed the bank.
2 dangerous men robbed the bank.
Steal is about the object that is taken away. You steal a thing. Think of steal like taking the liquid out of the container. For example, the men stole $1 million.
The men stole $1 million.
And burgle simply means to illegally enter a house to steal things. It is very specific to houses. It is like a mouse sneaking into your kitchen at night. For example, someone burgled our neighbor's house while they were on holiday.
Someone burgled our neighbor's house while they were on holiday.
Next is win and beat. You win an event, a prize, or a match. Think of win as holding up a beautiful gold medal. For example, our local football team won the big tournament.
Our local football team won the big tournament.
You beat a person, an opponent, or another team. Think of beat as physically pushing someone behind you in a running race. For example, our team beat the champions by 2 points.
Our team beat the champions by 2 points.
What is our next pair, Felix?
It is affect and effect. The first one is spelled with an A, the second with an E. Affect with an A is usually a verb. It is the action of influencing something. It is like pushing a heavy box with your hands. For example, the lack of sleep really affects my mood at work.
The lack of sleep really affects my mood at work.
Effect with an E is usually a noun. It is the result of that push. It is the footprint left behind in the sand. Note that effect can sometimes be a formal verb, meaning to make something happen, but usually it is a noun. For example, the new medicine had a very positive effect on my headache.
The new medicine had a very positive effect on my headache.
Let us move to wake and wake up. Wake is the basic action of stopping sleep. It is a bit formal. Think of it like a traditional metal alarm clock ringing. For example, the loud thunder woke me in the middle of the night.
The loud thunder woke me in the middle of the night.
Wake up is much more conversational. It means to fully open your eyes and become alert. Think of wake up like drinking a hot cup of strong coffee. It brings you to life. For example, I usually wake up at 7 in the morning.
I usually wake up at 7 in the morning.
Now let us talk about the senses. Hear and listen.
Hear is passive. You hear sounds simply because your ears are open. It requires zero energy. It is like an open window, letting the street noise into your living room. You do not try to do it. For example, I heard a dog barking outside.
I heard a dog barking outside.
Listen is active. You choose to do it. You focus your brain. It is like using a vacuum cleaner to deliberately suck up the dirt. You use your energy. For example, I am listening to a fantastic new podcast.
I am listening to a fantastic new podcast.
The exact same logic applies to our next group. See, look at, and watch. See is passive. Your eyes are open, so the light enters. For example, I saw a strange bird in the sky yesterday.
I saw a strange bird in the sky yesterday.
Look at is active, but very short. You direct your eyes to a specific target. It is like pointing a small laser pointer at a wall. For example, look at that amazing red car.
Look at that amazing red car.
Watch is active and continuous. You observe something that is moving or changing over a long time. It is like recording a long video on your phone. For example, my family watched a funny movie last night.
My family watched a funny movie last night.
By the way, if you are enjoying this gentle walk through the English language, please take a tiny second to subscribe and like this video. It is a very small step for you, but it quietly helps us keep this safe space open for everyone. And please, leave a comment below. Tell us which of these words you always mix up using your personal anchor.
Yes, we love reading your real-life stories. Let us continue with fit and suit. Fit is about mathematics and physical dimensions. It means something is the correct size. It is like putting the exact right plastic lid on a food container. For example, I love these jeans. They fit like a glove.
They fit like a glove.
Suit is about art and aesthetics. It is about looking attractive and matching your personal style. It is like finding the perfect wooden frame for a beautiful painting. For example, that dark green jacket really suits you.
That dark green jacket really suits you.
Next, we have mind and matter. Mind is about your internal feelings and whether you give permission. If you say you do not mind, it means your internal weather is calm. You are not annoyed. For example, I do not mind waiting for 10 more minutes.
I do not mind waiting for 10 more minutes.
Matter is about the physical weight or actual importance of the situation in the real world. If you drop a cheap pen, you say it does not matter. It is a light situation with no bad results. For example, do not worry about the broken cup. It does not matter.
Do not worry about the broken cup. It does not matter.
Now, wonder and wander. One is spelled with an O, the other with an A. Wonder with an O means to ask yourself a question in your mind. You are curious. It is like gently scratching your brain. For example, I wonder what we are having for dinner tonight.
I wonder what we are having for dinner tonight.
Wander with an A means to walk around slowly with no specific direction or goal. It is like a dry leaf floating peacefully on a river. For example, on Sunday, we wandered around the old city streets.
On Sunday, we wandered around the old city streets.
And our last verb group, fall off, fall over, and fall down. You fall off an object you are sitting or standing on top of, like a horse, a bicycle, or a chair. For example, the little boy fell off his bicycle.
The little boy fell off his bicycle.
You fall over when you lose your balance from a standing position on flat ground. You just trip and hit the floor, like a tall tree suddenly dropping. For example, I didn't see the cable, so I tripped and fell over.
I didn't see the cable, so I tripped and fell over.
You fall down when gravity pulls you down an incline, like a hill or some stairs. For example, my phone slipped and fell down the stairs.
My phone slipped and fell down the stairs.
We are making wonderful progress. Let us move to block 3, adjectives. These are words we use to describe things.
Yes, and our first pair here is uninterested and disinterested. Uninterested simply means you are bored. You do not care about the topic. It is like pressing the off button on your television. For example, the teenagers were completely uninterested in the museum tour.
The teenagers were completely uninterested in the museum tour.
Disinterested is very different. It means you are neutral, fair, and objective. You do not take a side because you have nothing to win or lose. It is like a judge in a courtroom wearing a blindfold. You just look at the facts. For example, we need a disinterested person to decide who wins the competition.
We need a disinterested person to decide who wins the competition.
Next is famous and infamous. Famous means you are known by many people for something good or great. It is a bright gold star on your shirt. For example, she is a famous scientist who cured a disease.
She is a famous scientist who cured a disease.
Infamous means you are well known, but for a very bad reason. You have a terrible reputation. It is a dark, heavy storm cloud over your head. For example, Alcatraz was an infamous prison.
Alcatraz was an infamous prison.
Now, complimentary and complimentary, they sound exactly the same, but one is spelled with an I and one with an E. Complimentary with an I has two meanings. It means expressing praise, like giving someone a compliment. Or it means free of charge, given as a gift by a business. Think of it like getting a free chocolate dessert at a nice restaurant. For example, the hotel offers complimentary breakfast to all guests.
The hotel offers complimentary breakfast to all guests.
Complimentary with an E means two different things fit perfectly together to make a whole system better. It is like peanut butter and jelly on a sandwich. They are different, but together they are magic. For example, my business partner and I have complementary skills. I handle the math, she handles the art.
My business partner and I have complementary skills.
What about economic and economical, Felix?
Economic is an adjective related to the economy, money, business, and trade of a country. Think of economic like a giant steel bank vault full of gold. For example, the new president must solve the current economic crisis.
The new president must solve the current economic crisis.
Economical means not wasting money, time, or resources. It means being smart and cheap in a good way. Think of economical like squeezing every single drop of juice out of a fresh lemon. You do not waste anything. For example, driving a small electric car is very economical.
Driving a small electric car is very economical.
Next, distinct and distinctive. Distinct means clearly separate or different from other things. It is very clear to the eye or ear. Think of distinct like a solid black square sitting right next to a solid white circle. There is no confusion. For example, there are two distinct flavors in this soup, garlic and tomato.
There are two distinct flavors in this soup.
Distinctive means having a special quality that makes something easy to recognize. It is a unique characteristic. Think of distinctive like a person's unique signature on a piece of paper. For example, my grandfather has a very distinctive laugh. You can hear him in a crowded room.
My grandfather has a very distinctive laugh.
The last adjectives are classic and classical. Classic means something has a timeless quality. It is a standard of excellence that never goes out of fashion. Think of a classic like a beautiful vintage black dress or an old Porsche car. For example, that movie from the 1950s is an absolute classic.
That movie is an absolute classic.
Classical refers specifically to historical periods, traditional art forms, or ancient cultures like Greece and Rome. Think of classical like walking through a quiet marble museum. For example, I love to listen to classical music when I am studying.
I love to listen to classical music when I am studying.
We are doing great. Now we enter our final block. Block 4. Phrasal verbs. People are terrified of phrasal verbs. But remember our rule. Tiny steps. Do not try to memorize a dictionary. Just visualize the metaphor.
Exactly. Let us look at end up and end in. End up means the final location or final situation you reach, usually by accident. You did not plan to be there. It is like a small paper boat floating down a fast river and finally stopping in some dirty bushes. For example, we missed the last train and ended up walking home in the rain.
We missed the last train and ended up walking home.
End in focuses on the actual result of a specific event or process. It is often a negative result. It is like a judge hitting a desk with a heavy wooden hammer to close a case. The final stamp. For example, their ambitious business project ended in total disaster.
Their ambitious business project ended in total disaster.
Now look up and look for. Look up means searching for specific data or information in a source, like a book, a dictionary, or the internet. It is like typing a query into a clean digital search bar. For example, I do not know his phone number. I will look it up in the directory.
I will look it up in the directory.
Look for means searching for a physical object or a person in the real world, usually because they are lost. It is like holding a flashlight in a dark room, trying to find your shoes. For example, I am looking for my car keys. Have you seen them?
I am looking for my car keys.
Let us do take down and take off. Take down means removing something that is hanging or fixed on a vertical surface. It is like pulling a sticky poster off your bedroom wall. For example, after the party, we took down all the beautiful decorations.
We took down all the beautiful decorations.
Take off means removing clothing, shoes, or accessories from your own body. It is like feeling the relief of dropping a heavy winter coat off your shoulders. For example, please take off your wet shoes before you walk on the carpet.
Please take off your wet shoes before you walk on the carpet.
Felix, what about catch up on and catch up with?
Catch up on means bringing yourself up to date with a task or an activity you missed. It is used for things, not people. It is like filling an empty glass with fresh water until it reaches the top. For example, I was sick on Monday, so I need to catch up on some office work today.
I need to catch up on some office work today.
Catch up with means closing the distance with a person. It could mean physically running to reach them, or more often, meeting a friend socially to exchange news. It is like sitting at a warm cafe with 2 cups of coffee. For example, It was so wonderful to catch up with my old university friends.
It was so wonderful to catch up with my old university friends.
Next is bring up and grow up. Bring up is the action parents do to care for a child. It is a transitive verb, meaning it happens to an object. It is the physical action of watering a small plant every day. For example, my wonderful grandparents brought me up in a small village.
My wonderful grandparents brought me up in a small village.
Grow up is what the child actually does internally. It is the process of getting older. It is intransitive. It is the plant itself reaching up towards the sun. For example, I grew up in a very quiet neighborhood.
I grew up in a very quiet neighborhood.
And our very last pair, go on to do and go on doing. Go on to do something means you finish one specific task completely, and then you move to a brand new, different stage. It is like closing one heavy door behind you, walking down a hall, and opening a new door. For example, she wrote a famous book and went on to become a successful politician.
She wrote a famous book and went on to become a successful politician.
Go on doing something means you just continue the exact same action without stopping. It is like a hamster running on a spinning wheel endlessly. For example, the meeting was boring, but the manager went on talking for another hour.
The manager went on talking for another hour.
We made it to the end. You did beautifully.
You really did. Remember our promise at the beginning? You do not have to memorize all of this today. Just pick 2 or 3 phrases that you liked. Stick them on your mental fridge using a personal anchor. Connect them to your real life. Practice the muscle memory quietly. The English language is a marathon, not a sprint.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us today. Be gentle with yourselves. Keep taking those tiny steps, and we will see you in the next episode.